Hello everybody, it's the 15th of June 2015. It's Dan here from Essex, United Kingdom. You see I'm in my polytunnel, things are looking nice. Now I just, as a matter of interest, put on the search engine of the computer today how much of the food in the UK is imported. Well, the figure that certain websites have come up with is 40%. So that means that if imports were cut to this country, we could only feed 60% of the people. So what about the other 40%? And I can't understand why more attention is not being brought to this. So, for example, the local area where I live, there are many houses being built. Many. We're talking in the region of, hundreds. So that's greater pressure on the infrastructure, greater pressure on roads, the police force, schools, catchment areas for schools are being moved, and yet no one really appears to be worried about it. Now, how are we going to feed all these extra people that, the population of this country is increasing, but yet we're not turning areas over to agriculture? Now, I understand that a farmer will sell his land to a developer, because in this area you're looking at around £12,000 per acre to purchase an acre of agricultural land, and land for building is going to go for much more than that. So of course it's only natural if a farmer wants to get out of the business, and he could make probably more in a sale than he may make out of years of farming. So of course he's going to do that, and no one could blame a farmer for doing that. Also, I believe that we need to start supporting local producers more. So if you can buy English apples or English plums or pears, then do so, even if it costs a little bit more. Because once they've gone and the areas have been built on, then that will be the end of, orchards. They're dwindling in number, and people don't seem to be too worried, but it is worrying, because what's going to happen in 50 to 100 years, maybe even less than that? The figure's 40% of imports now. What will the figure be in 10, 20, 30, 100 years? I mean, you can't just have a country, an island, a very small island in the case of the UK, that's just totally reliant on the outside world. I mean, I know there is this European Union project, but some people agree with what's going on there, some people don't. I'm not going to get into that subject at the moment, but the English Channel separates us from Europe, so you've got to get across there, and the other side a much bigger body of water. So it wouldn't take much for a problem. So we need to start thinking more about our own self-sufficiency. Also, another thing that needs to be talked about is on the news today about the consumption of meat. It's actually nice to hear something sensible on the news for once, not just talking about war all the time. But the consumption of meat is huge, which necessitates factory farming, which is, cruel, and necessitates high volumes of antibiotics to be used, because the animals are fed on the wrong things, wrong foods, left inside, and disease is rampant. So therefore that necessitates the use of antibiotics, excessive amounts of antibiotics, which they believe could be contributing to antibiotic resistance, such as MRSA. So that's one thing we need to think about as well. Now, what I did today here was I built a little no-dig bed, just a little bit of space here. Now, I want to enrich this soil. So what I did was just put some horse manure down and some compost on top, and I've set some Swiss chard and an Asian squash. So we'll see how we do there. I want to enrich this soil a bit more than it is now. So that's one way I'm going to do this. Gooseberries are looking good. I'll put some more Asian squashes here. Hopefully these will grow up these canes. I can feel the sun, it's very strong. This is the beautiful mulberry tree, which I love very much. Generally don't see these in supermarkets. Might see them at a farm shop or something, but these are a great fruit to grow. The trees are literally disease free, so can live for hundreds of years. Not to mention they're majestic. They're not quite ready yet, but these will turn more or less black when they're ready, and they're very juicy. I'll do a video showing when they're ready. Yes, the peach tree. Well, a little bit of leaf curl present here, as one can see. This was basically an experiment. I've not sprayed this, which is recommended, with copper sulphate or Bordeaux mixture. I wanted to see just how resistant Avalon Pride is. Allegedly it's resistant to, partially resistant to peach leaf curl. Well, you can see how resistant it is for yourself. Quince tree here, very popular in Eastern Europe. Going to be hopefully grafting half of this tree over to pears next year. Look at them. Beautiful. I believe this is variety Meach's prolific. And here we have Victoria plum. Needs mulching to encourage a bit more growth. I mean, we've got all these beautiful fruits that we can grow in this country. And here we have Merryweather, that's another plum. And here we have some summer fruiting raspberries. So basically the message that I want to put out from this video is we need to start supporting our own agriculture, horticulture, food production, even if it costs a bit more money. Because if it carries on like this, then eventually there will not be much of a British agricultural or horticulture or farming industry, and that is really worrying for ourselves and for the future generations. You may remember these are the potatoes, the early potatoes that I grew in pots. They've gone absolutely crazy. Slight mistake. Should have left some space in between the rows, because to top these up with the compost once they had emerged was very difficult. We had to get up there and climb over the tops to top them up. As you can see though, certainly a good sea of potatoes there. Now the roads are very congested around here, and I believe that seems to be a thing that's going on sort of countrywide. So these are all indications that the population is increasing, and we need to develop more sustainable ways of surviving growing our own food, eating less meat, less animal products, ethically raised due to greenhouse gases, oil consumption. So that's all food for thought. These were the walnuts, remember? Rescued them from certain death, I believe, by repotting them. This one had the worst of it, but it's a lot better now. And this here is a golden gage, not to be confused with a green gage, because that's a gage. This is a member of the plum family, golden gage. Okay, so yeah, just some things I wanted to raise with anybody listening to this video. I believe we need to start to take action personally, everybody, if possible. I believe that local growers must be supported, local producers must be supported as much as possible, and also that big supermarkets, big companies also have a duty to support local growers as well. So hopefully people will listen to this, and it will do some good. Speak soon, and if there's anything you want to say, please comment down below. Thank you.